Good morning. This is the Blaine's World podcast that can be found each week on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you want to find us, you'll be able to do so. And if all else fails, you can also go to my website, which is www.blainesworld.net. I'm your host, Blaine Greenfield, and I'm here in my Zoom studio in lovely downtown Fairview, North Carolina. Each week, we focus on positive news and information about people and organizations in both Western North Carolina and throughout the country. It's my pleasure to introduce two folks from a group called Pinkish Floyd, and they are Jason Watson, and right now it's also Rob Grace. And you can wave to all your fans and friends who are watching this, but if you're watching, that's Jason and Rob. And I should mention that I know Jason a little bit in terms of having seen him in several shows. It's been my pleasure to do so. I haven't had the opportunity yet to see you in anything, Rob. So in terms of getting to know you both, if I could just ask you maybe give a brief introduction, and I'll start off with Jason. Keep this to about like 15 minutes or less, if you can, the introduction.
Not possible.
Okay, Jason, but tell folks a little bit about who you are first, if you would.
First of all, Blaine, thank you so much for having us on. It's great to, I know we've been looking to make this happen for a long time, and so it's a pleasure to finally be here. I'm certainly a huge fan of your show, and it's great. It's a great service that you provide for the whole community and beyond. I know you reach a lot of people, so thank you very much for having us on, first of all. Yeah, so I don't know where to start. I was born. I've been in Nashville for, gosh, I think it's been about 5 years now. The family moved out here from New York City via Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Of course, we were, my wife Kathleen and I, we were in New York City for about 12 years, pursuing the theater thing. We've been performing for about 25 years professionally. And so we were out there for a while, and then we moved to Los Angeles because we were done with winter. And then we moved over to Las Vegas for a brief stint, and then we ended up here. And I think everything's been working together so that we could end up here, because we love Asheville. We love this whole Western North Carolina area. My dad lives in Hendersonville, and so it feels like we're coming home, even though it took us a while to get here. I'm originally from Colorado, so it feels very similar. I don't know what else you need to know. I've done some things over the years. Did some Broadway and some regional theater and some cruise ships with my wife, and we've the national tours and some TV, some film. But it's never, I feel like it's never been as rewarding as it has been in recent years, just because to feel a part of a community such as vibrant as this one is, it's something special. So it's the work that we've been able to do here in places like Flat Rock Playhouse and SART and Hart. Kathleen works up at Hart quite a bit, and it's just a really special community to be a part of. So it's a pleasure to be here and to be now in this new venture, this project, Pinkish Floyd, which is just near and dear to my heart since the age of 13. And it's just a pleasure to play some of my favorite music and hopefully bring it to fans, old and hopefully new alike.
The question I ask to Jason when I meet somebody for the first time or interview them is, as a kid, did you always know you wanted to be an entertainer?
It's a funny story. I remember, and I tell people this every once in a while, I remember very specifically when I was about 8 or 9, I remember watching a TV show. I can't remember what it was, maybe Little House on the Prairie or something that was out and about around that time. And I specifically remember watching this particular show, this episode, and thinking to myself, boy, that is one thing I will never be. I don't ever want to be an actor. And it's funny how things turned out. I was sort of dragged into it by my girlfriend in high school. She did in fact want to be an actor, and she dragged me kicking and screaming to go see a touring production of Les Miserables. And although it was the last thing I wanted to do, when I went into the building, it was certainly possibly the first thing that I wanted to do when I left the building. I fell in love with the craft and the spectacle and the story and the music, of course, and the voices. And I had always been a singer just for fun. I sort of started in rock music when I was in my adolescent years. So it's funny that it's come full circle to that again. But I left there and I said, you know what, I'm gonna listen to this. I'm gonna give it a try. And I found out that I had somewhat an aptitude to sing that stuff. And I auditioned for my the school musical the next year was Pirates of Penzance. And I got the role of Pirate King. So I thought, all right, well, maybe I'll stick around for a little while. And here we are, 25 years later. So yeah, it was not intentional, but it certainly was something that was, if not chosen by me, it was certainly chosen for me.
And it reminds me of this one idea for a fundraiser, Jason. I don't know if I ever shared it with you, but for either White Horse Black Mountain or some other Flat Rock. But wouldn't it be cool if everybody recreated the very first role they ever did? So when you did Pirates of Penzance,
yep.
I assume we don't have a video of that or clip of that anywhere?
I'm just going to go ahead and say no.
Okay, but wouldn't that be great, though?
Yeah, I remember you trying to put this together. I remember this was maybe pre-pandemic where you were talking about this, and I think it's intriguing. I certainly would love to reprise that role. It certainly was a special experience for me. But yeah, if I find a video, I'll see if I can send it to you. I had much longer hair back then. I was maybe that's why I got the role. I had the pirate ponytail. And
there aren't too many males out there in high school who are wanting to do musicals, so you're at the right place, the right time, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it spoke to me. It was a fun community to be a part of.
Great. And same thing too, Rob. This is the first time you and I have had a chance to meet. And by the way, we're taping this. You're located where now?
I'm in Fletcher, North Carolina.
Okay. And so a little bit of your background, if you would, Rob.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been in the States for about, about 21 years now. I came over early 2000s to play some backgammon. I had some friends that lived locally that played. I was playing a tournament in New York City, but I took a Greyhound bus to Asheville and just kind of fell in love with the area. And I've kind of been here ever since. I haven't lived in New York City and Las Vegas and LA and all of that because I think I pretty much landed in the perfect spot the first time around. So that's how I got here. As far as musically, I'm from Coventry in England, which is the home of two-tone and ska music. So that's always kind of been a part of who I am. I play in a band called Ska City as well locally. I've played in classic soul bands. I've done the regular sort of blues band, southern rock thing as well. But for me, Pink Floyd, I was always kind of aware of Pink Floyd's music and kind of appreciated it. But it wasn't until I got into this project that I kind of started peeling back those layers of, Dark Side of the Moon, particularly the album, and just kind of realizing what a masterpiece that really is, and how great it is to play that music and to present it to an audience too. I'm kind of the opposite of Jason. I don't want the limelight. I'm quite happy on the back line. This is a really tech-heavy show. I'm in IT, so I've got a kind of a technical background. We're talking about lights, lasers, video production, all of these elements that really kind of resonate with me that I can bring to the table and let Jason and the frontline performers just really kind of shine. So that's my role.
You mentioned getting involved in the project. What got you started in it initially?
Well, let's see. I was kind of forced into this in some way because the first time somebody came to me and said, "Do you want to be in this Pink Floyd thing?" I said no, simply because I didn't know enough about it. It seemed complicated, and it was going to take a lot of time. But I bit the bullet, tried it out, and it became a bit of an obsession for me. Just to kind of really kind of nail that sound, you know, kind of work on that, because it was something I'd never done before. I was used to playing in a more sort of looser style, you know, just sort of jamming with friends or whatever. But this takes some real precision, in my opinion.
And so talk about then how Pinkish Floyd actually came about, at least locally or in Western North Carolina. What brought that on?
Well, I met up with David Bradley. I don't know whether you know David Bradley. He's a bass player out of, where's he live? Marshall, somewhere up north.
Excuse me.
And we just kind of started looking around and to see what players we could find. And, you know, we've, over the period of just a couple of months, assembled this core team of like nine great talented musicians who all bring different perspectives and different strengths to the group, and it's really a beautiful thing.
And you mentioned you have like 9 people are a part of this. Talk, if you would, or just mention the folks who else are involved in this.
Go ahead, Jason.
All right, so we have David Bradley, as you mentioned. We have of course, Mr. Robert Grace. We have myself. We have we have on saxophone. We have Patrick Landis. He's out of Greenville. Our drummer is David Bruce. He plays a lot of local theater as well. He's a fantastic drummer, and he really has a hunger for precision, which is great. And we have 3 fantastic background singers: Rebecca Hillgrave, we have Jenny Lee Bradley, which is David's wife, and we have the lovely Kathleen Watson as well. And I think, is that everybody? Is that 9?
You didn't mention Travis Corcoran.
Oh, of course, Travis. Yeah, we have a guitarist as well. We have a guitarist, because we heard that we needed one of those in the Pink Floyd show.
It helps.
Travis Corcoran, he is brilliant. We call him Rabbit, and he is a phenom. He's quite spectacular.
He's a beast.
Playing that not only playing the difficulty level that is David Gilmour, but just to really embrace the tone, the quality, but the heart, the soul, which you really need, because that was a big part of David Gilmour's playing. And he's just, he's really, really special talent, and it's a pleasure to have him in the band for sure.
So when you started to get together as Pinkish Floyd, or I don't know if that was the name originally, how often do you get together or practice before you had your first rehearsal, your first gig?
Well, we sort of formed or reformed it, or restructured in what, May-ish of last year. We have a lot of issues playing. And I think, and then our first gig was at the White Horse on I believe August 5th. So we had a few months. It was summer, so people were traveling and out and about, but we really put a lot of emphasis on making sure that everybody was, first of all, in the project for the right reason. You know, Rob mentioned that people come from all different backgrounds and they have different perspectives about the music and about the experience. But the one thing that I think we all have in common is a real passion for Pink Floyd. And I think that's essential when you're trying to mount a true tribute project, as opposed to just being a cover band and playing some of these tunes. We really, really strive to deliver the same sound, the same experience overall that they would expect to hear or see from a Pink Floyd show. You know, a classic one where the original band members were all together, say in the late 70s, and it's a cool thing to be a part of, to take everyone's talents and fine tune them and hone them into this sort of experience overall. So we're continuously evolving and growing and bettering those skills, and it's fun to watch. And I think we all are chomping at the bit to play the Peace Center and to get out, because I think we have what it takes to do that. It's just that we're really being careful about covering all the bases and making sure that we're doing everything for the right reason, and we're not jumping any steps to get there. We're really trying to do it the right way and make sure that we're delivering the product that we want to, and that we want to hear and see as an audience member.
Now, did either of you two ever see Pink Floyd in person? No,
I did not, unfortunately.
No, as much as I should have, and I was a fan, you know, like I said, in junior high and high school, it just never happened to come to pass. I saw Roger Waters in, I think, 2010 when he sort of remounted the Wall tour, and that was a phenomenal show. And it was basically the same as you would have seen back in 1980, 81, without, of course, the original band members. It was just Roger and his team, but it was a phenomenal show. And then recently, we as a group, we ventured out to Atlanta to see Roger Waters' current tour, which was just, again, a phenomenal.
Incredible.
He has a way of speaking to the audience, both visually and audibly. It really hits you where I think he intends to hit you. Yeah,
I always wondered, when you do this, and especially you went out to Atlanta to meet him, how do groups in the original groups feel about tributes and cover bands and other people doing their work? Do they have a positive or negative reaction to it?
I guess it depends on how good you are at it. I mean, you know, there are plenty of Pink Floyd tribute bands out there, as are them for the case for many of the great bands. And I think I can only hope that, you know, if you're doing it the right way, if you're respecting the original, both material and intention, I can only imagine it's a huge compliment. It's you know, we're part of carrying on the legacy that is, you know, Pink Floyd and the sound and everything. And I don't know personally. I mean, Roger and I haven't talked in a while. I know that he's on speed dial with Rob, but we can only imagine that he would enjoy what we do and why we do it.
Rob, have you seen some of the other tribute bands?
Let me see. I think I've seen a couple. I've seen Pinkest Floyd out of Charlotte, I think. And also Interstellar Overdrive, I think they're called. I saw them at the Newton Performing Arts Center. They have great laser shows, and that was really kind of inspiring to me to kind of work on the lights. Jason and I have put the lights together. We've both kind of taught ourselves how to, you know, program and set up the lights, and that's been an experience too. That's been a new thing for us.
When you see some of these other bands, do you go up and tell them that you also have a tribute? You have Pink Floyd? Do you share that information?
I didn't get that chance last time around, so
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Blaine, I think it's interesting that you bring up other tribute bands and the fact that there are so many. And the thing that I am constantly reminded of, and I've seen videos of these other bands, especially the ones that Rob has mentioned, and it's interesting that sometimes they have all the right pieces. They have all the lasers, they have all the lights, they have all the video, they have all the instrumentation, they have it all, but something's missing in the storytelling. And I think that that's one thing that we're really trying to embrace and to focus on, is that it's not just that we have lasers and that we have the lights and that we have the spectacle. It's that everything is working together congruently to tell the stories of these songs. And it's not just there to flash bright lights at you and to you know, show cool psychedelic videos or whatever it is. You know, they're very, very deliberate in the videos that they share and when they share them and why they share them and when the lasers happen to go off and when it's all very, very deliberate to tell the story that these are, especially something when you do an entire album like Dark Side of the Moon, which we do. It's you know, it's a concept album for a reason. It's one of the great concept albums where it starts in the beginning and it doesn't stop for, you know, 45 minutes or whatever it is, and it tells a story throughout, and it's all linked together, and it's got a through line. And, you know, coming from a theater background, this is something that I see right away if it's not there. And right. I think it's one thing that we really wanted to to try and tackle and to really try and embody is making sure that we're telling the story of these tunes, these beautiful lyrics that are written by Roger Waters for the most part, and the soaring melodies that David Gilmour's coming in, and beautiful keyboard and synth. I don't even the atmospheric and like even from Richard Wright. I mean, it's beautiful. It's all beautiful, and all the pieces. It's so simple, but when they come together, it sounds so complicated because it's just so good. And I think that's really something that we're trying to deliver, because I think it's the one thing that's missing from a lot of these. A lot of them come off as just cover bands, and I think we wanted to take a step further and really give the complete experience.
And to put Rob on the spot a little bit, to share a little bit of this complete experience, I think you said 1 or 2 clips you could show us that maybe kind of give folks an idea of what this is going to look like.
Yeah, sure. I guess we can start with the sizzle. Just give me 1 second here.
Okay, so we're going to see if we can get the sharing the screen. And as there is perfect timing. Okay.
You! Yes, you! Stand still, Larry! I'm just a new boy, stranger in this town. And if your head explodes with all memories too, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. Hey, you! Out there beyond the wall, breaking bottles in the hall. Can you help me? Taking away the moments and making the glory. You better run all day and run all night. Keep your dirty feelings deep inside. If you're taking your girlfriend out tonight, put your car well out of sight. They're gonna send you back to mother in a cardboard box. You better run.
Very cool. As we have you guys come back in, one of the things that's very cool about this is that I'm noticing you playing these songs. How many songs in the upcoming show are there going to be, approximately?
20, 24
Something like that. Yep.
ish.
Yeah.
So it's really it's really a best of set, you know, taking cherry picking certain tunes from the different albums that are crowd pleasers, and then we do a Dark Side of the Moon back to back, note for note.
Because one of the things that's amazing me, Rob, as I'm watching, just even though that clip there, is that you're playing these 24 songs. I noticed that people aren't reading the music, or, you know, they're just doing it, including, which is very impressive, the musicians. Let me ask you this, and especially Jason, this question. So you memorize all those songs. It just knocks my socks off that you can do that, you know, that and any musician, that you must know a few songs in your day, would you say?
Yeah, a few. But you know, like I will say, the difference between this project and every theater project that I've ever done, especially when we talk about memorizing lines and lyrics and music, this was quite easy. I think it was practically memorized the first day I came in to just sort of try out for the band initially back in the day, and I think that a lot of these lyrics are just in my bones from an early age. It was quite easy. I will say, you know, I've one of the things that this project has forced me to do is revisit the guitar, which is something I played with years ago, but I never spent that much time with it because, you know, other than just, you know, playing around. But the fact that we needed some strong rhythm guitar sounds in there forced me to pick it up and really sort of bring it back into my body. And it's so when we talk about new things that new songs, new notes, new instruments that I had to learn for this project, it's been learning all the guitar music, and it's been a worthy challenge, and at the same time it's incredibly fun. And I think luckily, because this music is so familiar to myself, for sure, it lives in there, and so I just have to continually work on how to get it out the best way I can.
It's funny you say that, because I think about that in terms of, as kids, we memorize music, you know, and it's a shame that we can't memorize geometry, you know, as easily as, you know, the stuff it's just incredible that we, like I said, remember it as a kid, and it still lives in us. Rob, the same kind of thing in terms of learning music. Is that something you just pick up easily, or is it just something you have to work at?
Well, like I said, at the start of this project, I found it really intimidating. But once you get into the material and start deconstructing it, it's not that complicated. And that's really the weird thing about this is it sounds amazing, but when you break it down, the sort of core components are really not that difficult. So yeah, it hasn't really been too difficult to kind of learn this material. And particularly, as Jason said earlier, you know, we're all sort of passionate about this, so it's not a chore necessarily to kind of sit down and work out the charts, because it's, you know, it's such a passion for us. And you know, looking at my Spotify recap over the last couple of years, Pink Floyd's been top of the list simply because it's on rotation. It's you know, just kind of getting it into the brain and letting it kind of seep in.
Because one of the things I was impressed at, just looking at that one clip, is that I saw all the musicians also are not reading music. You know, they're just playing it. And again, that's pretty impressive, especially Jason, having just seen you in at Flat Rock and Mamma Mia, that, you know, all the musicians typically are off to the side, and piano players can read music, but the singers can't, you know. So to see every musician, Rob, you know, memorizing this stuff too is pretty impressive to me. You know? And they also, when we see the show, nobody's going to have music in front of them.
Correct. Yeah. You know, Blaine, that's something that I think we decided, even whether it was intentional or not, or a direct ask. I think we all, you know, Pink Floyd didn't perform with music, right? And we're not up there just playing music. You can't perform if you're stuck on a page or on an iPad the entire time, which, you know, many musicians do these days, which is there's nothing to slight that at all. That's they're still delivering what they need to deliver. But I think, again, when we're thinking about our aims with this project, is we want to bring it off the paper. Obviously, we want to make it alive for everybody, and that takes engagement with the audience. And so we've made it a pretty key, you know, aspect of the show is it's off book. And again, like Rob said, it's easier than you think, especially with this music, because it's just, I mean, come on, it's Pink Floyd.
I don't want to give away the secrets, you know. I don't want to show what's behind the curtain. But the other thing is, if I'm running two keyboards, looking after sound effects, triggering video, there's really not enough time to be, you know, reading tablature as well. Yeah. You know,
speaking of which, in that first show, that most of that reel is from that one gig at Whitehorse, and it was our first show out. Really, it was our sort of our debut. And so we were making a lot of things happen. We're looking to simplify things for those in the band so that we can focus on really what we want to be doing. But that whole time I was singing and I was playing guitar and I was running lights with my foot. So we had I think we got up to 240 light cues or something like that.
Yeah, you were tap dancing there for a minute or two.
Tapping on that. And so, you know, it's just talking about memorizing and multitasking. We're hoping to make it as easy as possible on all of us, so that we are running as little as we can on stage so that we can focus completely on the music and on the story.
And just seeing a little bit of that clip, Rob, I'm kind of impressed with the fact that, as you're saying, this is not just going to be a bunch of people singing music, it's a whole show. And talk a little bit about in the show. So some of the idea of the lights, but what else is going to be happening?
Well, I mean, if you've ever been to a Pink Floyd show, you know it's a multimedia experience. I'm thinking of the Roger Waters show down in Atlanta. He had a crew of 140 people. They turned up in about 15 semi trucks to put this show on, and it was incredible. Okay. So what we want to do.
Your crew only has what, 70? Is that?
Yeah. So he's got this budget of millions of dollars. We're trying to do this on a shoestring, and I think we've done a pretty impressive job for given our budget and constraints, etc. So
people are going to see not just the music; they're going to see a light show too, I sure, and costumes and the whole 9 yards.
Yep, all of the above. Yeah, we intend to bring every aspect of it. And sort of interpret the story as well. I think that's what differentiates us from a lot of the groups that are out there. But yeah, the multimedia thing is pretty much expected, I think, at a Floyd show. But it definitely brings another level of complication to the composition of the show for us.
Now, was that your background also in terms of music, multimedia, or how did you get into that?
Not particularly. Like I said, my background's in IT. I'm a creative as well. I've been using Photoshop, for example, for, 20 years now. Got into some video production for this as well, so that we've got interpretive videos for each of the different songs that we perform. So yeah, it's been an interesting thing for me because, in 2022, I wanted to be more prolific artistically. And then I started this project, and it's basically all I did, for, let's think about this, a couple of months as we kind of put together that first show. It was just making videos and getting posters out there and, doing social media and all of that stuff. So just a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and if I may toot your horn a little bit, Rob, I mean, it's fantastic that, like he said, this is all kind of new. We're all trying our hats at different things within this because it's a very collaborative effort. And it's just some of the work that he's put together and some of the images and the video. When we talk about storytelling, we're constantly sort of back and forth on the best story that we can tell, but man, you got skills.
Thank you.
It's a treat to see what he's pulled out of thin air to tell the story that we're trying to do, and it's great. I look forward to it just getting just better for all of us, and it's cool. It's special. And
Jason, before we show another clip, if I can just ask you to kind of highlight the details that folks need to know. So the date of the show is going to be when?
Our next show will be at White Horse Black Mountain, and that's January 28th. And we've played there a few times over the sort of the course of this umbrella project, and it's a really, really, really cool venue. And they're friends of ours, which is great. They're friends of the band, I should say. And they've been kind to us, and we always have a great showing. And I hope that we do even better now. With standing room only last time, and I hope that we continue that. It's a very cool vibe in at White Horse. So that's January 28th, and I don't know if we have our website is pinkishfloyd.com. Our Instagram is pinkishfloyd. The band,
yeah,
the band, and we have Facebook too. We have a pretty decent social media presence that we're constantly trying to stay out there so that people know that we're around, and we're working toward getting to them. I have friends all over the country that want us to come there, and I plead their patience because we're on our way, but we have to make sure everybody in Western North Carolina sees us first.
As you mentioned, Jason mentioned the show, the website I have here in front of me. It's whitehorseblackmountain.com.
For
So
tickets,
if
yeah.
you want to get tickets, it's not a big venue. They have how many seats there?
Well, I'm not sure what their capacity is. It's sort of a mix between somewhat cabaret style
Right.
tables, or yeah, basically that's what they are, picnic or not cabaret tables, and then but there's a decent amount of room for standing as well. But it's the thing that I like about it is that it has that intimacy. It's not a huge venue, but it certainly can pack some bodies in there, and it's comfortable, and you can sit. It's not an orange peel sort of thing
Right.
where you show up and you're just standing there, because we sort of feel like that's not what Pink Floyd is. Pink Floyd is kind of a sit down, relax, be a captive audience, enjoy everything that's coming at you, and not it's not a big dance show. It's not a big, there's no moshing going on. It's just sort of sit back, relax, and enjoy everything, the immersive experience that's coming at you. So Whitehorse is perfect for that. And a lot of the venues that we're looking to get into going forward are more of those auditorium style settings, which many of the places that they did play and continue to play. Nick Mason, the drummer, has his current project, which is Saucers Full of Secrets, and they're currently touring around the country. And that's the venue that they're sort of drawn to as well, which is the Proscenium Theater, which is my home. And so that they have this auditorium setting where people are seated and they're enjoying the show and not worrying about muscling in to get to the front of the stage. It's just there's no such thing as a bad seat in the house, and that's the kind of audience we'd like to continue to deliver to.
If I can turn to Rob just one last time, I believe, Rob,
Yes,
you
sir.
have one other clip you can show that gives us a feeling for what this is all about.
Yeah, just before I do that, so I just looked it up. The Whitehorse Black Mountain capacity is 140 seated, with room for 60 more standing. And not trying to brag, but yeah, we definitely had 200 people in there last time around. So if you are planning on coming to the show, get your tickets early because it will sell out. So
And that's why I'm really glad to have you on today, because we still give people a couple of weeks to still get tickets for the show, because as you said, Whitehorse it will sell out. And Rob, let me turn back to you then, one more clip.
Yeah, sure. This is
Did you ever wonder why we had to run for shelter in the calmness of a brave new world unfolding beneath the blue sky? Did you see the frightened ones? Did you hear the falling bombs? Flames are all long gone, pain lingers on. Goodbye, blue sky. Goodbye, blue sky. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh man, seems like ages ago.
Okay.
do you remember how hot it was in that room?
Man, I think that was the small. We've been in quite a few rehearsal rooms with the span of this, and that was definitely the smallest. I don't know if you could tell from the video. It was a very, very small room for 9 people to be packed in. Well, 8 people. We didn't have our sax player, and it was incredibly warm. Yes.
Okay. I had to take a double take. I saw somebody with this droopy mustache. I was trying to figure out who that guy was. You brought him along that day?
Yeah. He's no longer in the band. We got rid of him. No mustaches are allowed.
Okay, clean cut look. Anyway, I'd like to thank you both for being my guests on this edition of the Blaine's World podcast. One last time, Jason, if you could give the date and the location, that would be great.
Absolutely. January 28th, I believe, 7 p.m. Is that what we decided on? Yeah, there we go.
Sounds about right.
Check it.
And yeah, and of course, like we mentioned, if you get the tickets ahead of time, they're a little bit cheaper. And again, that's White Horse Black Mountain, and it's we hope to see everyone there. It's a special time.
Yeah, and check the time. I think I may have seen the at you
Is
can
it 8
see
o'clock?
it there. It may be 8 o'clock at that time,
Yeah.
but just check the website and you'll find it.
There you
Again,
go.
I'd like to thank you, Jason, Rob, for being my guest. Also my producer, Cappy Tassetti. And we look forward to seeing you on the 28th, if not before. Jason, I guess I should ask you in closing, and I'll ask Rob too. Aside from this project, what else do we have coming up in the future? Anything else you can share?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not
great.
yet, but I look forward to 23 being a good year, a good performing year as well. And I shall inform you as soon as I'm able to.
Okay, look forward to it. Rob, anything else you have working on?
Just my Scar City stuff, really. We've already got about 12 or 13 shows on the books for 2023. And if people aren't familiar with Scar music, it's an early Jamaican form of reggae. For first wave, there's a UK wave where it came to England and kind of got infused in the punk scene. And then there's a third wave from America too. We kind of span all 60 years of ska, and we put on a fun show.
Okay, and keep me in mind, Rob, I'd love to do a show on that as well at some point in time, you know, because I don't know
sure.
that group too, but that'd be great. Anyway, guys, thanks an awful lot. Speak to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Very much, Blaine.
Okay, be well.
All right, bye.